Hello, I see you're here, and you're right on time. There's a reason I don't sing. This update of the 1937 classic film, which was based off of the Grimm's fairy tale, stars Rachel Zegler as the titular character Snow White and Gal Gadot as the evil queen. Now, before I go any further, let me just quickly address that there were some controversies surrounding this film's release that didn't really have anything to do with the movie. And I'll just tell you right now, I'm not here to discuss a lot of that in depth. It just simply needs to be addressed. The internet can be a weird and cruel place sometimes. The movie itself also went through a lot of delays as far as getting the script ready and also the strike that happened a couple of years ago. But that doesn't really matter right now. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the movie. Now, I personally was not the biggest Snow White fan growing up. Now, this new movie, it wasn't bad. It really wasn't. Regardless of whether it's your cup of tea or not, it's been updated for modern audiences enough to where you can at least appreciate what they try to do here. The star of the show here is Rachel Zegler. I don't know why she gets so much hate personally. She's a powerhouse talent who brings an innocence and an immense, sweet presence to the character of Snow White here. Plus, not to mention, she's the only one in the cast that can actually sing, which is kind of important considering there's a lot of songs in here. A lot of original songs, I might add. Now, Gal Gadot plays the evil queen, and I just gotta say it, she's really bad in this role. She's really bad. Look, I'm sorry. She's awful in this role. Just her line delivery, her trying to be intimidating and unpredictable. It was just plain laughable. Now, I mean, the evil queen's getup is already, like, by today's standards, a bit laughable anyway. And then her performance just did not help at all. It kind of reminded me of Eddie Redmayne in Jupiter Ascending.
Double our security deployment to destroy any ship that comes near the planet.
It's Zegler here who carries the film, but like at the same time, there's only so much that she can do when she's acting alongside a bunch of CGI animals and CGI dwarfs, you know, when her co-stars are them and like maybe 3 other actual human characters, you know what I mean? Speaking of the 7 dwarves themselves, there was also some controversy about whether they were going to cast real dwarves or not. I'm not really qualified to comment on all the controversies there, so I just won't. They are CG. Their facial features are well done, but they're a little scary looking. And it's hard to really tell them apart, despite them trying their best. Like Sneezy, you can tell because, I mean, well, every time he talks, he's got to get a sneeze in there. So that's a dead giveaway. But it's only when he talks even that you know that. Now, the only one that stands apart is Dopey because he's looks different in body type and, you know, he's got those big ears, of course, obviously. Speaking of which, they give Dopey like a full character arc here. You know, a full break out of your shell journey. It's kind of heartwarming, actually, because he's a non-vocal character, which is it's more common in our society than people think, so there's at least some good representation there for people who don't speak much or at all, even. The most well-done story element in here was the poison apple part. It perfectly captures the right balance of love and loss and all the things that end up going along with what ends up happening to Snow White and how she is revived by love's first kiss. It's a nice moment when the film stops and takes itself seriously for a good moment, and it works. As someone who's loved a lot and also lost a lot in their life, I connected most to that part, and it was definitely the best part of the movie. Now, as far as the negatives go with this film, they don't flesh out the reasons why the queen is evil, really. I mean, she's just evil because she is. I mean, I know they didn't really touch on that much either in the original. But see, what makes a good villain is that they have to have a reason and a motivation for their hate and the reasons why they're doing the things that they do.
Take him away!
Your Majesty,
What did you say?
the people need some kindness.
You know, I really don't remember you being this opinionated.
We don't get any kind of backstory or reason why the queen is doing the things that she does and why she wants a bunch of jewels and people to serve her. She just wants it because, she's evil. She comes from a faraway land, and that's the only explanation we get from her. And then there's nothing here. She just wants to be the fairest of them all, and that's it. And then Gal Gadot's very subpar performance didn't help. It only fuels that. Also, like I mentioned earlier, all of the actors, especially Zegler, do the best they can when they're acting around in a CGI world with CGI animals and dwarves and things like that. But there doesn't seem to be a sense of, like, atmospheric realism with these characters. This was also an issue in the live-action Aladdin film. It's like, the characters, they look too clean, if that makes sense. They look too made up and too pretty. The first time you see Snow White and Zegler's in the role, and she's grown up and she's been a servant in the Queen's castle for all these years, she looks like she just stepped out of a makeup trailer. She doesn't have, her skin is flushed and beautiful. There's no dirt or grime on her, even though she's on the floor scrubbing around in this dusty, dirty pantry area. Her dress, even though it's a servant's dress, looks nice and clean. There's no dust or dirt on it. She also doesn't look malnourished, even though they mention several times how everyone's hungry, how all the people are hungry, how the village is hungry. Now, this is just me as a film guy nitpicking who appreciates the little details and appreciates continuity, but it's forgivable though because I know that this is supposed to be a movie for younger audiences. Now, it's important to just address that the original Snow White came out in 1937. That was a different time, and it was Disney's first movie of the Disney princesses, and it was a product of its time. It was very innovative. Some aspects in it have not aged well. I know that. Some aspects are kind of dated. So they update enough in here that it's going to connect with modern audiences a lot more. And what I admired about this live action update is that they actually did try to do some new things with it and make it its own. It wasn't just a direct copy of the animated classic. And I can appreciate it when they try to do that, even if it's not my cup of tea. Like, okay, for instance, I love the animated Lion King from 1994. That might be my favorite Disney film of all time, but the live-action remake didn't work for me because it was essentially just a shot-for-shot remake of the animated one. Like, what's the point? What works well for an animated feature doesn't always translate as well to a live-action feature. And studios need to realize that. So anyway, that's why I admired it and at least tried to, change things up a little. And also they added a lot of new songs in here, a lot of new original songs. Some of the jokes fall flat in here, I will say. Despite the charming aspect of the movie, I don't think I really laughed, except one little joke that Grumpy made. Misunderstood. That was funny. Overall, Snow White was not a bad movie. My favorite live-action Disney remake, though, is still The Jungle Book. That one's going to be tough to beat. I'm going to give Snow White a 6.7 out of 10. Thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. There's a reason I don't sing.